Hey everybody, good evening. It's Wednesday, March 30th, 2022. I am Ben Capozzi with Broad Shoulders Farm in beautiful Halifax County, Virginia, USDA Grow Zone 7. I've been working on several projects this month, but right now, and most of today and yesterday, I've been in the Rooster Run. So I'm going to do a little update here on what's changing here in the Rooster Run. So if you're into that, stay tuned. I'll flip the camera around and we'll get going. Hey, Colonel. Hey, Castanea. All right, so longtime viewers will recognize some of these characters. I've been working in the Rooster Run on some housing and just some general area improvements. I'm getting ready to gather up a bunch of stuff to take to the dump, so I'm going to gather up all this old 6 mil plastic and get all that in the back of the truck and take it to the dump. Some of these rotting boards are going to go into the fire pit, but today I laid out the foundation for the Roosthaus, das Roosthaus, which is going to be a big rooster house that is a lot more protection than they have had in years past, but also a simpler design. So I'm getting ready to work on that here. I'll make some more progress this week. Ranger, what are you doing? All right, you guys don't want to know what he was doing. Well, maybe you do. It's kind of funny, but anyhow. So I put in the foundation. I laid out the box. So this is all oak, but it's 8 by a little over 12. And it will face south, as all my structures do, to maximize sunlight for the lads. I will eventually be taking this old hoop house completely apart and rebuilding it as a new cattle panel high tunnel for the lads, that I can grow some veggies for them in there. I started taking apart this one. This one had been here for, I guess, almost 2 years. I'm scrapping it for parts, just little by little as I go. So I need to take that apart, finish taking that apart soon. And the lodge will be, sorry, not the lodge, this is Le Chateau. I'll be taking the chateau down, coming up next as well. Ambitious design for a more ambitious time, when I had this idea to do almost like Epcot Center here for the lads. And who knows, maybe someday if I'm more successful, I will do that. I think that would be fun. But the chateau is coming down next. And what I'm basically doing by taking all this down and making way for... Hi, buddy. Hey. That little guy is a black copper Moran and one of the survivors of the Merrick's outbreak. So keep going, buddy. You're doing great. But what I'm starting to do is divide up the Rooster Run. It's quite large. I think it's about 80 by 50, so there's about 4,000 square feet in here. But I'm starting to subdivide it now to make way for just different groups of roosters that I need to accommodate. So the lodge is going to come down. I'm going to set up this corner for the bantams, for the bantam roosters, and see how they do here and see if they can eventually be integrated with the full-size roosters. I have a feeling they can be, so it won't have to stay the bantam run forever, because I don't have any bantams in the Rooster Run right now, but I do have bantam roosters intermixed with standard size roosters, and they get along fine. In fact, in a lot of those relationships, the bantam rooster is the guy in charge. So that's what's going to happen here. The big thing I've been working on is over here, redesigning the decompression chamber that I use to introduce new roosters. They need to stay in quarantine for 1 to 2 weeks, depending on how things are going. And I have been using, sorry, let me dip through this crabapple tree here. Sorry, blooms. I have been using this old goose house forever. And it's a pretty cramped space for, depending on how many roosters you want to introduce, for them to stay in here. But it does the job of having them be able to see the other roosters and be seen by the other roosters, but not interact in a painful way. But still, it could be better. So what I'm doing is I've created a brand new house for introducing new roosters, a new larger decompression chamber. And I like this quite a lot. It is, what did I make this? 6 by 12, I think, with 8-foot paneling on the roof with plenty of overhang, and the 4-foot panels halfway up the wall. I'm going to come back and put her up the side. So I'm going to come back and put that plastic deer netting over the top, and leave the front probably kind of open. And in the winter I can come and put plastic sheeting on this to give the lads more warmth. But you know, none of the houses in here are designed right now to be predator proof. Predator would have to get through a couple things in order to make its way in here. So right now I'm not really designing for that. If that becomes a problem, I'll make some changes. I also put this really big overhang on the back, and the roof is slanted. It's higher up in the south and lower back here. But what I'd like to do is put one of those big troughs from Tractor Supply, maybe like a 300-gallon one, or maybe even something as simple as 110 or 210-gallon ones. But I'd like to store some water back here that I could then draw off of to go into the orchard, this particular paddock back here, in the summer and other times when I need that extra water. And I'm looking at also setting up a drake house here in the Bachelor pad as well for some of my extra drakes. If you know anything about ducks, if you keep ducks, you may notice that the drakes are super rapey. It's the best way I have to describe it. And Ben Falk's sister Elizabeth, Gabriel, also described them that way, and that's always stuck with me for like 5-6 years now. But it's true. And so I need to give the girls some relief, but we don't process any of our partners here. So I'm looking at bringing excuse me, some of the drakes over here and setting up a paddock for them. And I haven't decided if I'm going to subdivide this introductory area or if maybe I will combine it so the drakes are like permanent residents of that area who occasionally get some roosters. My experience is that roosters and ducks do not fight with each other after 4 years of keeping both kinds of poultry intermingled. So hopefully that will stay the same. But yeah, so I'd like to collect water off of here that the drakes could swim in and poop it up and thus fertigate that water so that I can then use that out in the orchard, making it even better. So kind of excited about that. You can see this big pile of mulberry cuttings here. I have been working little by little, diligently, to take down more and more of this mulberry tree. If you follow the farm on Instagram or Facebook and I talk about this poor tree has witch's broom, which I can't remember if it's bacterial or viral, but it's basically an incurable infection that radically cuts back the harvest. I mean, a giant mulberry tree this big should yield, literally tons of fruit all summer long, but it doesn't. It gives me like one very stunted kind of 1/10 of a normal crop very early in the season, and a lot of the fruit never matures. Witch's broom causes all this kind of crazy recursive growth that you see at the nodes, and it just shades out the under branches and everything dies. There's a ton of dead wood up in there, and mulberry is a very dense and heavy wood. So I am taking my time bringing this thing down piece by piece, trying not to kill myself or get injured in any way. And I've taken down some fairly large chunks, and some of the pieces I'm using is going to be slash in the orchard, as you've seen in my other video about adding slash to protect the trees. But some of the larger pieces are also going to stay in here as jungle gym type material for the lads. I think that they will get a kick out of that. And I'm pretty much at the point where I'm not much of a tree climber anymore. So
sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you. Sorry, could you say that again?
Sorry, my watch thinks I'm talking to it. But basically, I'm at a point where I'm not going to climb up in there and make cuttings, and I'm not going to extend my ladder much higher. So I'm looking at renting one of those chainsaw pole saws so I can stay on the ground and bit by bit, and eventually limb this thing back and see where that gets me. So I'm excited about that. I don't know if that'll happen this week. We're expecting some rain tomorrow, and I've also got, as we head into the weekend, I've got a lot of baking to do. You guys know that I sell at the farmer's market. So not sure if that will happen this week or not. Maybe I ran it for the long weekend. That might be the thing to do. So we'll see. But yeah, so eventually retiring this house and getting all the lads set up in the Roosthaus there in the back, setting up a cattle panel high tunnel for them so that they have a nice place to go in the winter to dust bathe, out of the weather when it rains as well, and also maybe grow them some veggies. And the lodge here, I started taking it apart, so it's coming down as well. What's slowing me down is that it's actually housing in its a separate pin here. The lodge has this pin, and then there was the larger A-frame, which I've started scrapping and cannibalizing in order to get materials for this. But I've got two lads in there. One of the Hams and Waldorf are in here. Hey guys. And they keep just getting the snot kicked out of them every time they come out. So I'm working on figuring out how best to reintegrate them, as well as giving. Ham has been a little wobbly, so I've got him on a vitamin routine as well, and just kind of giving him time to eat and drink unmolested and see if that improves him a little bit. Guys, Jeebus. So anyhow, that's what's going on with them. But until I figure out where to move them next for safety, I can't keep taking this apart no matter how much I want. But what I'm probably going to do is set up a rooster ICU in this area. So I'll need to play like musical chairs with them and get the boys out for a few days while I quickly get something set up and just see how that goes. So not quite sure yet how that's going to work. There's plenty of plants that I'd like to add in here for the lads. They seem to do really well with the roses. All the roses that I planted here came back, that I planted last year all came back. And I see the lads nibbling on them but not destroying them, unlike the geese who take everything. So I think I'm going to probably come back in here and add a nice row of roses for the lads. They're also medicinal, and hopefully I'll get the rose hips. I have some other plantings to do in here. I'm going to bring in some more persimmons, some cultivar varieties, as well as maybe some wild seedlings that I can graft over next year. And the bush cherries did really well. I think we're going to have fruit. Hopefully these blossoms weren't killed. I'm not quite sure. I think they kind of did their thing late last week, which is hopefully what happened. Because not last night, but the night before, it was in the upper 20s, and there's some concern about it knocking out peaches and apples. But I honestly think that most of my stuff is fine. So we shall see. But that's where we are right now. I've got a lot of deconstruction and new construction going on, but I think it's going to make some really nice improvements in the overall quality of life for the lads. And I'd like to make a lot more jungle gym play areas for them. I'd like to make some more toys and things to give them some more enrichment while they're in here. And I've got about a dozen new lads that are getting ready to come over here. They're past due, but I need to get them in here so they can start interacting with the already lads that are here. And then I can intermix the groups. So by the end of April, there should be about a dozen more lads in here, which would be great. So that's where we are with the Rooster Run right now. I've got to pack up all this junk, throw it in the back of the truck, and take it to the dump before they close. Whatever you are up to, I hope that you and those you love and care for are safe and well. The lads and I say goodbye. Look at Lloyd taking a nap. Hi, Lloyd. Lloyd's a speckled Sussex. You can follow the farm on social media at Broad Shoulders Farm on Facebook and Instagram if you want to see more about what we are up to. And questions, comments, concerns, helpful critique are always welcome. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.